Okay, technical difficulties. I've been traveling a lot lately. We've been traveling, and I happened to pick up an Albuquerque newspaper on my travels. And boy, were they ever gearing up for New Mexico's having to close or whatever they called it. I think it's locked down again. We found some really good spots in New Mexico where people were really awesome and people weren't wearing masks and that kind of thing. But we also were rejected for business at a Whataburger because we weren't wearing a mask at their window just to order food, which was a lot like our Fat Burger experience in Los Angeles. So anyway, I got an Albuquerque paper, and I'm pretty sure that the Albuquerque paper is predictive programming for what was to come, which is what's coming now, which the last I heard, New Mexico was in dire straits because cases have skyrocketed. And we saw propaganda going through there. By the way, the signs on the road are supposed to deal only with things that pertain to the road. So when signs on the road are telling you to beat COVID-19 or wash hands, as we were told when we went through New Mexico on the signs, quite a bit actually. With a lot of signs, especially going through Albuquerque. And I knew that the campaign was on and that things were going to get worse because I think while we've been sort of lulled, I guess, into complacency by a selection that's still sort of kind of going on, and people don't know whether to be angry with other people or which side is winning or losing or whatever. And I think that's a big distraction from what's going on in the rest of the world, which seems to be lockdowns. And fortunately, in Denmark, protests about lockdowns, which is awesome. I put an article about that on my Facebook page. People are protesting. Well, they're protesting a mandatory vaccination. I'm sorry, in Denmark. They're protesting mandatory vaccination, and they were going to pass a bill or put one in, or however, I'm not sure which process and at what point they were, but people protested so much that they have now taken that off for the moment. You know, a mandatory vaccination bill in Denmark has been put to the side. We don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. And people are very scared, and you're probably feeling lonely. And the audacity of what these agencies do and that people follow these agencies is just amazing to me. And I saw something today about how college students aren't supposed to go home for Thanksgiving because they may be contagious with something that's not been proven to exist, um, or linked directly to illness. There are a lot of questions that people should be asking, but people are not asking those questions. And it's very frustrating for those of us who are asking those questions. So, from the Albuquerque Journal, again, this was, let's see, it was last week, I believe, November something or other. Well, it is the final edition and it is 2020. And one headline talks about the University of New Mexico dean, who was named secretary of the New Mexico Department of Health. And it mentions that she will lead the agency at the forefront of the COVID-19 fight. You know, it's a battle. Establishing things is a battle. This is the article from the Albuquerque Journal, and it was last week, I think Wednesday or Thursday. edition. So, and it talks about a site in Gibson. Gibson site remains locked as cases spike. See? So that's a predecessor. That's why I think it was predictive programming for this whole New Mexico lockdown thing. And I think what they're doing is very disrespectful to the Navajo who live there. Um, and it seems disrespectful to the whole state. And somehow they're being propagandized. And it's wrong. If you can see through this, you understand how wrong that is on so many levels. But the paper here is full of propaganda. Um, Moments Together campaign earns global award. Okay, I don't know what that's about. I I'm guessing, and I didn't read it, and maybe I should have, but I'm guessing it's, you got to be apart. Oh, but to be together, if that makes any sense, which it doesn't. It's Orwellian doublespeak, is what it is. And there's a lot of that here in the Albuquerque Journal. Just the front page. Well, okay, there's a fight against COVID-19, top of the fold, above the fold rather. And then there's a site that remains locked as cases spike. See, that's the thing that sticks with people, as cases spike. So we have that in the Albuquerque Journal. And they actually have a sports section. And November 12th, 2 days before my oldest son's birthday. And then today is my youngest son's birthday. He turns 16 today, which is pretty cool. And I'm thankful for that. Thankful to be a mom, and very thankful for that. So we have a lot to be thankful for. And I think we need to focus on that. It's really hard when we see deceit like this, and things being canceled. And as I said earlier, we were being distracted by the selection. The selection. We were being distracted by that, and there were people locking down all over the place in other parts of the world, having to lock down. I think in Greece, you actually have to text the government every time you leave your residence. And I don't think people are doing it. I hope they're disobeying that. We've got to start disobeying. It's not a time when we can say, well, one day we'll do this. It's time to do it. It's time to disobey tyrants, and we have to do this. Or we are going to be enslaved more than we already are. And it almost takes a cursory glance of the news items, not even in any in-depthness. If you've read background, and if you've read studies and things like that, and if you've read some criticism of these agencies, the Cat Dog Cat Agency, and the Whiskey Hotel Owl Agency, both of whom are suggesting a lot of stuff like how we spend Thanksgiving with relatives. They are discouraging from people getting together and discouraging college students from going home at Thanksgiving. Wow. And I think the most terrible thing about all of that is that they are invading in our privacy. And that's what this whole psychological operation has been and is designed to do, to invade our privacy, our homes, oh, you can have only 6 people or 10 people or 100 people or whatever. And I got an email recently from a homeschooling group in California. And it said that they're already planning their virtual online thing for next summer. And I wrote and said, do you not care that you're harming kids by disallowing them to get together? And I was given Cat Dog Cat organization or corporation. I was given Cat Dog Cat guidelines. That's what we're doing. We're following those, even though those come from pharmaceutical companies who stand to gain very nicely from this whole deal that's going on. It's absolutely crazy and maddening. I think it's maddening to those of us who can really see through it and have seen through it since from the get-go, back at the Ides of March. I met someone the other day and I was talking to her and she totally understood how this was a communication stoppage, and a direct attack on our communication and our humanity. Unfortunately, not everyone's seeing that, but I'm hoping that more and more people are. And we don't know what they have planned for us, but we do know one thing: if people just disobey, what are they going to do? We've got to start doing that. We've got to start searching our soul and figuring out what we want, what kind of a life we want, and standing up for that. And that means going places without a mask on, because there's no harm in going into any place without a mask. And people don't understand that. There's no valid scientific evidence behind wearing a mask. And it's very sad that people are complying so much. But it is what is happening. So our job now is to wake up people and maybe say things in line at the grocery store, or say things you never know when you're out and about in the stores that we were allowed to have open. We have to learn to disobey tyrants. And one way of doing that is to help everyone. They've separated us, so we all feel very lonely. I can't imagine my first year of college, or really any year, where I wouldn't come home for Thanksgiving. And that's what they want kids to do, not come home for Thanksgiving, which is ridiculous. There's never been a virus like this causing this much havoc. And it's not the virus who's doing any of it, but it's the reaction to that. We didn't react this way when there was tuberculosis or other flus or whatever. We haven't reacted this way, where we're discouraging people from being with each other. And after college students have been really quarantined most of the semester, quarantined, that's only for sick people. They've been under house arrest. They've been in jail basically this entire semester, and now they're not supposed to go home to their parents. We have to stop this. We have to say no. We have to start living our lives to say no to this stuff. And it may feel uncomfortable. We may have to find alternate routes and all that, but that's okay, because we have to start it. We have to bankrupt these big corporations that believe they can tell us they we're more concerned with pleasing the government and pharmaceutical companies than they are with pleasing their customers. That's not at all a good business model. So it's been a few days since I did one of these, but I'm very thankful. I've met a lot of people who are very concerned about this stuff. I've met a lot of people who are interested in freedom. I've met a lot of people who at least are questioning the narrative of all this. With the narratives, there are lots of narratives, and we have to start questioning. We have to continue to question those narratives. Really, it's that important. It really is. I'd like to just get on here and tell you, read a poem, and maybe leave. But the reason I talk about this other stuff is because I really see the tyranny that's coming, and I've been reading about it, and I'm shocked that it happened so quickly, but I'm also shocked that more people aren't seeing through it. So let's pray. Let's pray for honesty, love, light, and truth for everyone. especially those who are willing and open to see. Mesmerized. That's the name of the poem by Leonard Moore, one of my good friends. And um, we are in a poetry group together. A few of us are, and I'm very thankful for that. Although we haven't met in a while, but we still care about one another. And so this is Leonard, and he has a book called The Geography of Jazz, which is really neat, has a lot of nice poems, and this is called Mesmerized. She starts meeting beats down sidewalk slopes through campus courtyard while rain mists her hair, while locks swing across her black blouse. Red pumps stump a slender-legged salsa, while wet willows wave like hands stirred. Men eyeing the woman's blue jeans, tight as a goat skin drum. That's a lot, and it's getting dark here. A little bit dark. Oh, wow. It does it so early these days. That was Mesmerized by Leonard Moore. He's an awesome poet. Leonard Moore. And also a really very nice man, which is always a good thing. No matter what endeavor you're in, is to find nice men and women. And if you're raising kids, that's a nice thing to try to do, is to add nice, helpful, insightful, honest, and truthful people into this world, which needs a whole lot of truth right now to see through deception. There are a lot of lies, a lot of lies. So pray for truth, pray and meditate on truth and honesty and love and light. And I cannot tell you what to do for Thanksgiving, but I can tell you this, that I'm going to do what I normally do, because I haven't been given any valid scientific evidence to do otherwise in any of this. And if you have any valid scientific evidence that I should do otherwise, please feel free to leave that in the comment section, and I will take a look at it. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.